And we're going to be posting the recorded event on our YouTube channel. It's called Metchosin Seniors. So our quizmaster, Andrew Spray, is going to be asking 20 questions, and I'm going to show those questions on the screen, and you're going to write down the answers and keep your score. And we'll take a break halfway through, just a short break. Andrew will then give the answers, and we're going to use the honor system to see who got the most answers right or correct. And then there's going to be prizes for first and second place. Now, you may all know Andrew, but if not, Andrew was born in England, and his parents moved the family to Canada in 1947 after the war. He's a graduate of UBC and attended Oxford University, where he obtained a doctorate in physics in the late 1960s. Andrew's been in Metchosin since 1975. He married Leslie, and together they raised 4 daughters, all of them spending most of their childhood years here. Our quizmaster taught mathematics and physics at Pearson College, and he also was involved in the formation of the Metchosin Search and Rescue in the late 1980s. He's involved in St. Mary's Church and is fascinated by history and the church's history. Since his retirement, he's been with the Monday morning group that looks after the old church and cemetery. And now I'm going to hand the mic over to Andrew.
Well, thanks, Laurie, and welcome to all the people who've decided to participate in this event. Laurie's going to flash each question on the screen, and I will also read out the question, and we'll do the first 10 questions, and then there will be a break where Laurie will showcase some upcoming events. So, Laurie, if you can put the first question on the screen. Oh, just add one more thing, is that if there are answers that basically it could be 2 people with the same there may be 2 people with the same last name, and in those cases I'd expect you to give something which distinguishes which one it is. For example, if there was an answer that you were going to put down Trudeau, I would expect you to say whether it was Justin or Pierre. But otherwise, and also if it's an unusual name, as long as the spelling looks sort of pronounces like the answer, it would be perfectly acceptable, even if the spelling was not perfect. So taken from that, let's have the first question, Laurie. So the present mayor of the city of Victoria gets to City Hall on a bicycle. What is the mayor's name? And I'll give you about 15 seconds to think about each question and write down your answer. Okay, Laurie, ready for question 2? What famous provincial park is located a short distance from Port Renfrew? Question 3. In what year did BC join Confederation? Question 4. The worst mining disaster on Vancouver Island occurred January 1888, resulting in the loss of 77 lives as a result of an explosion at the Wellington Colliery, just northwest of what major town? Question 5. The islands viewed most directly from Tower Point in Whitty's Lagoon Regional Park are referred to as the Question 6. The name of the First Nation near Port Renfrew that has a strong association with the Fairy Creek logging controversy is? Question 7. The original institution which William Head Prison now occupies served what purpose? Question 8. The district of Metchosin incorporated in the mid-1980s. Who was the district's first mayor? Question 9. What is the name of Canada's first female prime minister? And question 10. What city on Vancouver Island was devastated by a tsunami generated by the 1964 Alaska earthquake? So before we go on to some announcements in the short break, does anybody feel that I was not leaving enough time to answer each question? If you'd like it a bit more time, I don't know.
No, there's lots of time.
Did you have some?
If you don't
Doris?
know it, you don't know it, right?
Yeah. No, I just think of jeopardy in the time they give people to come up with an answer, though nobody's having to press a button here. But anyway, back to you, Lori.
Well, I thought we'd just take a quick little break to let you know some of the upcoming events we have. We have trivia again on August 5th at the same time. That's a Thursday as well. And some Fire Smart programming with the fire chief and the Fire Smart program coordinator next week from today, the first one, and then 2 weeks later on the 26th, a second one. And then at the end of July, we have health programs for health conditions, and that's through Self-Management BC through the University of Victoria. So those are the only things I wanted to share right now. Does anybody have any questions before Andrew does the next set of questions? Just unmute yourself if you have any comments or questions.
Can you see me, Lori?
I can see you and hear you, Jane.
Okay, could Andrew repeat one question for me? Question number 3, or could you repeat it? I guess it's just written there.
I don't have it handy, but Andrew will. Do you have it handy, Andrew, or I could just go
getting
back?
question 3. In what year did BC join Confederation?
Okay. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else? I don't see any mouths moving, so. Are we ready to go, Andrew?
I think so,
Or-
yep.
Yeah, okay. back
Question
to you.
11. Name the Premier of BC from 1953 to 1972. Okay, question 12. What is the traditional name of Beecher Bay First Nation? Okay, question 13. In what year did Pierre Trudeau invoke the War Measures Act following kidnappings by the Front de Libération du Québec, FLQ? Question 14. In what year did Lester B. Pearson United World College of the Pacific open its doors to international students? Question 15. At the foot of what road in Metchosin was there a dock from which one could catch a ferry to Victoria? Hint, it lasted one winter. And question 16. On what date in 1939 did Canada declare war on Germany? And question 17. To get from Vancouver Island to Hornby Island, what island do you have to cross first? And question 18. What railway crossed Metchosin until about 1970 and its right-of-way has now become known as the Galloping Goose Regional Trail? And question 19. What BC cabinet post did the man known as Flying Phil occupy? And finally, question 20. Who succeeded Louis Saint Laurent as Canadian Prime Minister? So there are the 20 questions. Laurie, do you want to say anything about how the participants are meant to mark the questions?
Sure. So Andrew's going to read the answers. I'm going to flash them on the screen as well. And there's 1 point for each correct answer. So we're going by the honor system that you will keep score of how many answers you got correct. And then I'll ask at the end, we'll see who we'll see who got the most correct answers. We'll go for first and second prize. And I'll tell you what you win. So Andrew, do you want to read the answers? So
Okay.
before we do, does anybody have need any questions repeated, or you're okay to go with the answers? We're all right. Okay, I see heads nodding, so we're gonna go with the answers. Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, so first question. We'll repeat the question, but I won't read it all out. But the mayor's name is Lisa Helps. For question 2, the provincial park near Port Renfrew is Botanical Beach. For question 3, the year BC joined Confederation was 1871, and no plus or minus on that. The serious mining disaster at the Wellington Colliery occurred close to Nanaimo. Question 5, those islands near Tower Point are the Haystocks, or Haystock Islands. Okay, the First Nation near Port Renfrew we were talking about is the Pachidat. And again, as long as your spelling looks like that, I think you can give yourself a mark, all right? Question 7, William Head used to be a quarantine station for the Pacific, cross-Pacific trade. And Metchosin's first mayor was Herman Vogt. Okay, question 9. The only woman who's been Prime Minister of Canada was Kim Campbell. And the city on Vancouver Island devastated by the tsunami in 1964 was Port Alberni. Okay. The Premier of BC in those years was W.A.C. Bennett, or often known as Wacky Bennett, but wanted something to distinguish him from his son, Bill Bennett, who also became Premier for a while. Okay, here's one where I think we've tended to know the Beecher Band as the Chiana Nation, but I think in recent years it's more commonly referred to as the Skianu First Nation, but either answer will be acceptable here. Question 13. So the year of the War Measures Act was 1970. That was Pierre, not Justin. Lester B. Pearson United World College of the Pacific opened to international students in 1974. And neither Gary nor Helen were here at that time. I came in 1975 and Gary and Helen in 1976. At the foot of Taylor Road was where that dock existed briefly, but was washed out by, I think, a good southeast storm the following year. I think that was about sometime in the mid 1930s. Question 16. Canada declared war on Germany on September 10th, 1939, to show its independence from Britain, which declared war with Germany on September 3rd. To get to Hornby Island, you first of all have to cross Denman Island. Question 18. People probably would answer the Canadian National Railway, but at the time, the railway was actually being put across Metchosin. It was known as the Canadian Northern Railway, so either answer is correct. It was definitely not the Esquimalt and Nanaimo, though. Question 19. Flying Phil was BC's Minister of Highways during the W.A.C. Bennett era, and he got that name for having been stopped for speeding on numerous occasions. And finally, the person who succeeded Louis Saint Laurent as Canadian Prime Minister was John Diefenbaker, also known as Dief the Chief. So there are the answers to the 20 questions. And if anybody has any questions about the correct answers, please, let's hear from it now. But remember to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
So why don't you guys, did anybody get all 20 questions right?
Can I ask Andrew a question
Sure,
first?
go ahead, Jane.
Flying Phil Gallardi,
Yes.
I had Minister of Transportation. Was that
Um,
anything similar to highways?
I think that's good enough. Yeah,
I would
Yeah.
give you it.
I think it was
Sure.
called Ministry of Highways at the time, but it certainly fits into Minister of Transportation.
All right, thank you.
And there were no BC ferries at that time.
Drew, I had just had a question about the islands of Tower Point. I put Two Tree, but I guess that's really not at the point. It's further over. You wouldn't see it from the point.
I haven't got a map with me at the moment. It's just, they're the ones that are definitely the most outstanding, and
Okay.
they're actually belong to the First Nations. And
All
it was
right.
used as a underground, above the ground burial spot for
Okay,
people who passed away, members who
Yeah.
passed away.
okay, thank you.
I had just one other comment too, Andrew. Everything was so perfect on your questions and your answers, but Herman Volk, 2 N's at the end of Herman.
Ah,
Duly
Just a little-
noted.
A little trivia
Yeah.
for,
Yeah, good point.
You get an extra point, Jane.
Yeah. So did anybody get all 20 correct?
are you kidding?
doubt it.
Doris, what about you? Oh, you're on mute. Oh, no, we still can't hear you. Can you see there you go.
Okay, I have 8 correct.
Oh, wow.
Very good.
Is there-
How did you do, Helen?
Not well.
Okay. What about Gary?
12, 13,
Oh,
13.
very good. Can anybody top Gary at 13? Oh, Jane.
I got 14.
Ah,
Including Herman.
how did you do, Norm?
I got 12.
Oh, just under. And then Marge, do you want to weigh in on your score?
I do, and I had 8.
Ah,
But
you,
one I could not get wrong was the the War Measures Act, which was in 1970, which was 2 months after I arrived in Montreal.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh.
oh,
Never forget that.
I'll bet.
This, and you arrived in Montreal where?
Yeah, I could have asked, who was the one person that was killed by the FLQ?
Cross. I know that.
No, actually, he was
Pierre
the
Laporte.
Pierre Laporte, yeah.
Right.
But they released James, I think it was James Cross eventually, but Pierre Laporte was killed, yeah.
Terrible.
Regarding this train that hauled the logs, I remember that very well. Seeing the logs go past on the train. We lived not too far from where the train track crossed.
Oh,
Now, Doris, did you actually take that ferry? Did you ever do that ferry that was at the end of Taylor Road and go to
No,
Victoria?
but I remember hearing about someone moved a house there somehow. They brought a house up on a, I don't know, something floated it in, and that house is along Taylor Road, just down from
Mm.
where Taylor Road meets the trail there. It's I think the house is still there. I don't know who it was, but I didn't know that it was a place where you could get a ferry or anything like that. I just remember hearing about this house. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. That was moved in through that same place.
we
Taylor-
saw that house arrive.
I didn't see it arrive.
I did.
Oh, did you?
We did, yeah.
Wow.
It's the
Anyway.
dermatologist. I can't remember his name right this minute.
I don't know whose house it was. I just remember hearing about it.
Do you remember his name?
No, I don't. I don't know if I ever heard his name. I lived way down Rocky Point Road at the time.
Andrew, did you say what year that ferry
Well,
was?
I understood it to be in the 1930s.
Oh,
I don't remember it at all. I don't
But
know.
there apparently was some evidence of the dock there for some years afterwards, but
I don't remember even seeing it. I just remember this house. I heard about the house. I didn't see it being moved.
No.
It was brought in on a scow or a
yeah,
something.
A barge.
I think that was quite a bit more recent.
Yes.
I don't know.
than
I don't
that.
know. I just remember hearing about it. That could have been. But during the 1930s, I don't remember there being anything happening there at all at Taylor Beach.
Does,
Bonnie, we didn't hear from you. Can you beat 14 or 13 for a score? No? You're on mute.
does anyone know what the large piling or pylon is off of Weir's Beach? What was that for? On the north end of Weir's Beach, there's a structure, looks like a concrete structure.
I wonder if any of the boats coming to the quarantine station that had to wait, I mean, they had a huge number of people go through the quarantine station during the Second War.
I don't think it would be, Andrew, but I could be wrong. I would think maybe more something for during the Second World War. We had searchlights up everywhere. Like
Oh,
you drive along
Yeah.
the Esquimalt Lagoon, that little house that was there, that was a searchlight. There were searchlights at Esquimalt, and they were going all the time during the war years.
Oh,
So it might have
Yeah,
been
that could
something
be
to
it,
do with the
yeah.
war effort.
And
I know
some
this-
of you may remember Chris Pike,
Yes, I remember.
who was the air raid warden.
Yeah, I guess so. And we had to have our windows covered over with no light showing, and every once in a while we'd get a knock at the door. I could see a bit of light. And the little flap things over your headlights on your car, so just a little slit is all you could see.
Wow.
Gary, do you know the present state of the gun emplacement at Mary Hill?
It's an important spot for, I believe it's a kind of bat called Townsend short-eared bat. And it used to be sort of damaged, but what they did to preserve the bats is that they welded the doors shut, and they just have a small crack at the top where the bats can go in. That's the last I heard from Dave Nagorson. He's the expert on bats in that area.
Another interesting thing happened at the start of the First World War is that the BC government discovered that there had been 2 submarines built in Tacoma, I think, for the Chilean Navy.
Oh,
And the BC premier at the time, I'm trying to remember what his name was, managed to secure these 2 submarines for Canada, and they were coming across to Victoria, and nobody had warned the gun emplacements at Fort Rod Hill that these submarines were actually coming to join the Canadian Navy, or the BC Navy at that time, and they were all set to fire on them
oh.
when somebody said, that's probably not a good idea.
There were submarines out front. It would have been out front.
Yeah.
Laurie, to answer your question, I only got 8. Now, I could see some of the people and I could remember them and I knew what they looked like, but I could not remember their names. So 8 it
I know
was.
what that's like. Well, we have a lot of people who got 8.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Jane, I'm just gonna share the screen here and show you what you have a choice, because you have a choice of what you can win here.
Oh,
So we
boy.
have 2 prizes. One is a $25 Thrifty Foods gift card, and the other is this gift bag. And it has all kinds of things in it. It has puzzles, it has books, it has yarn and knitting needles. There's markers, there's magazines.
Which one?
And I'm pretty sure there's even candy in there. And a puzzle. So it's kind of a big gift bag. So you can choose your prize and in first place, and then Gary, in second place, you get the other prize. Do you want to think about it, Jane, or do you know what you want?
No, I have a feeling that the gift card would be fabulous, and I think I can find a place to donate it to as well.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Gary, I will pass along your gift bag to Helen.
That was the choice of Xander.
Yeah,
Oh, Sander, with you like that, there's all kinds of great stuff in there.
that was well done then. Well done.
Yes, you guys were all excellent game participants, and thank you so much, Andrew, who came up with all the questions, and he's thoughtful questions and made the game interesting and fun. And I look forward to the next one on August 5th at 2 to 3 p.m. How does this time work for people? I mean, you're here, so it works okay, but we are trying to get an idea of just to get some feedback on times and on the event. So if you go into the chat, there's a survey. And if you click on that link or copy and paste it, you can provide us with some feedback whenever it's convenient for you. And we really appreciate hearing from you.
Yeah, I would certainly appreciate hearing any comments, and if anything you might prefer to see in the questions than sort of the things we had today. But
That was a good mixture. I think it was a good mixture of different things.
There will certainly be 20 different questions on August, what is it?
Yeah, and do you think it's the right amount of questions or you prefer more or less? So give us that, yeah.
That was okay. That was okay.
Yeah.
The time of day was good for me.
I thought it was perfect, Andrew. I thought that the questions were clear. The answers were, I got 8, but I thought that they were really, really well thought up, and I thought you did an excellent job. Thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you participating. And Jane, if you want to just call the office or swing by when it's open, I'll give you your gift card. And
Well,
congratulations.
that's terrific. I hope next time we have 2 sets of full screens.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I'll help get out the word for sure. Yeah.
Well,
Andrew,
the-
Andrew, I want a question next time on the gun emplacements on Churchill and Maryhill.
Oh,
About what war was that all about?
Oh, I know, the Second World.
there
No, that was before the second.
was the pig war.
It was- I think it was
just
Sino-Russian.
a question, Andrew, too. Will the theme stay the same? Are you still going to go kind of for, well, history or politics and things like that? Or will you?
I mean, I'm open to suggestions for other things. I wrote about, jotted down and trying to plan this with Laurie and others, about 10 different topic areas, but basically trying to stay within Canada, but and sort of spreading out from Metchosin
Yeah. Oh, I think
further
that
afield.
I think that's great. Just that when if I'm talking to some other people, then I can kind of indicate what themes might be.
And if you have some questions to suggest, Jane, because I know you're quite the historian, feel free to share them with Andrew.
Yeah.
And then sit out the next one.
I don't know that we want, yes, you've won once.
Yeah, no, I think totally enjoyable. It was, I'm not known actually for my my recall, so I've never done well at trivia, but I guess I arrived in BC around 1970, so some of these dates were actually kind of pretty current for me. So yeah, anyway, it was great. Really appreciate having this fun afternoon.
Thanks, Jane. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming. And I've recorded it. I'll post it up on our YouTube video. I'll send you all a link and you can feel free to share it with your friends who couldn't make it. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
All the best, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks again, Andrew.
Thanks.